an attempted bank robbery in that area, and that may have been the start of it. So we're not sure how, if that's the exact connection here, but he told me that was a bank robbery in the area, and when he saw that those people were there, he assumed that those were the perpetrators involved with that shooting so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting because people were hearing the gunshots and bank robbery, and again, we're getting all this information in drips and drabs, but we're also hearing from sources that the shooter shot himself on the 33rd floor. So you have to imagine that he was in the building for some bit. Are you hearing anything about that, Kendall?
Yeah, we don't know about how long the shooter was inside, but we did see some of the people that were standing here on the side worried about their loved ones because they work here close to where everything was happening. So if he was there in that same building, I couldn't imagine having a family member inside or worried about whether they're safe or if they're going to be okay with something like this going on.
Yeah, such a scary situation. We even talked to Matt Onimus, a Fox employee who was walking home trying to grab a train from Grand Central, and he said he just saw police officers rushing down the street, some of them with machine guns. And this is a very, very busy area. Behind you, what seems to be the perimeter in terms of police presence?
It's got to be at least, I'm here on 54th, it's got to be at least 3 to 5 blocks here along Park Avenue. So 54th Street, East 54th Street, this scene basically spans a couple of blocks. It looks like it's all the way to 55, 56, a little further up, further down, I'm sorry. But it's just laid with a bunch of police, laid with ambulance, laid with law enforcement here, just trying to keep a hold on the matter right now.
Yeah, quite the active scene there, Kendall. And I do want to say, for those of you watching right now, we did get an update from NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch saying that the scene has been contained, the lone shooter has been neutralized. So whether this is an active scene in terms of a crime scene, this is what they're working on right now, and that's why it's still advisable to just stay away from that area. Heavy police presence in the area of 52nd and Park Avenue, 52nd between Park and Lexington. Very active scene right now. This is a look from Sky Fox. We keep hearing about a black BMW that was involved in this. We're still hearing information, but as you can see just how big of an area this is, and that this is just essentially a pavilion, home to a number of hedge funds, law firms, banks, a lot of people, hundreds of employees in that area who were sheltering in place when they heard about an active shooter situation. This happening at the end of the workday on a Monday, so very busy. And then we've heard witnesses say that they heard gun pops, and then we have a picture of the suspect as well, who this picture truly just unbelievable of him just walking into this pavilion with an AR-15 just by his side, and you just have to wonder how he was able to get this far. It looks like he's just on a mission, and it's just a really scary situation to see in the middle of the day. 6:10, end of the day, work day for a lot of people, hundreds of people in that area. And this building, home to the NFL headquarters, JP Morgan, Blackstone, a number of law firms as well, and a massive police presence still going on right now in Midtown Manhattan, 52nd between Park and Lexington Avenue. Let's go back to Kendall Green. Kendall, you were on the scene and you've been talking to a number of witnesses. Do you have anyone right there with you?
Yeah, I got you, Natasha. Well, this is one of the folks that have been here on scene. You're looking at this picture. Talk to me. You work here in this area, right?
I live in the area, okay. So I was shopping.
You're looking at that picture of the individual with that AR-15, that weapon to that area. What goes through your mind?
Well, first it's super scary. Like, I just landed on a plane this morning on a trip to South America, and this wasn't my fear while I was out there. So seeing something like this so casual, like I don't know, it gave me a very eerie feeling. It sucks.
And we do know that there are casualties here associated with this. Any reaction with this being such a busy stretch here in Midtown?
Yeah, it's literally the middle of the day, and I was walking walking, and I was seeing a whole bunch of people just casually walking, and all of the police cars and the firefighters and the helicopters going that way, and I'm looking around, I'm like, everybody's normal, but something, as a New Yorker, I'm like, something is definitely going on. So we walked over here to hear that that's something that's happening broad daylight, and as I'm looking up the news to find what's going on, I'm seeing all the other shootings that have happened today or yesterday or this week, and I've been gone, so I've been gone for a while, and I didn't realize that's what was going on, and it's very scary, very unfortunate.
You got to be unnerving. I appreciate you making some time for us. Yeah, so I mean, and we've been still seeing folks coming out. It seems like they're coming out slowly, not just they're coming out in drips basically. A lot of folks are coming out of this building, and I'm assuming it's the same thing for other buildings that are close here in this area. But yeah, that was a reaction to an AR-15 being carried in a building housing finance firms, in banks, in the NFL as well. So I mean, yeah, definitely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Natasha.
Just a scary situation. Yeah, sure. Really, just as she said, it truly gives you an eerie feeling of that suspect just walking leisurely with an AR-15 into this very busy building. Kendall, you did talk to someone who was just 2 blocks away from where this active shooter situation was going down, and he talked about being evacuated 30 to 45 minutes. Tell us a little bit about what he said.
Yeah, he said he initially heard that there was an active shooter. A witness, they told him and warned him that was going on. And a couple of minutes later, they were having to shelter in place. And he says he was not too far from an area of danger, as he described it, where, I mean, I guess if there were to be an issue with how, bullets flying somewhere close to him, he didn't want to be hit. He didn't want to be struck. And they told him to stay in place, stay safe. And he did just that. But of course, out of just pure, he was worried about what was happening, telling me he was kind of frantic. And it caught him off guard. Of course, as everybody here out here.
Yeah, this happening middle of broad daylight, middle of the day, as people are finishing up their workday. And we did see that witness when he talked to you, Kendall. He was still in his suit, backpack on. It's a very transient area. There's a big subway station there, a lot of food, restaurants. The woman you talked to was shopping. So this is a very busy area of Midtown Manhattan, 52nd and Park. And for a shooting like this to happen, it's scary.
Yeah, not just workers, not just residents, just in this area, just shopping, as you just mentioned. But you can see several folks who look like they're coming from these finance firms. They still have their suits on, as you mentioned, and we're looking at one of them walk past right now. We're looking at one standing right beside me. I'm going to try and talk with them to see if we can. You mind talking with us for a second? Were you inside at all? Or you guys? Were you inside at all? We're going to bring them into that shot. But what was going on? Yeah.
I wasn't in that building exactly, but I was in 399 Park, pretty much like right next door. Yeah.
What happened?
Pretty much right next door, and all we could hear is something happened outside. Stay indoors, it's not safe to be out, and it was pretty crazy to hear it, so we just stayed put, and we got all our information from online as far as what happened. We heard someone walked in with a active gun. So yeah.
And so what? Yeah. Just talk to them about what was going on. So he said he heard something with an active gun. He was actually on standby somewhere else. But he was telling me he was inside and he didn't know what was going on at the time. Natasha.
All right, Kendall, thank you so much. We want to go to Arthur Sheehan right now. He's at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital right now on the Upper East Side. Arthur, we're hearing that that's where the police officer was taken in. What can you tell us?
Yeah, first of all, it's New York Presbyterian Weill Medical Cornell Center. This is York Avenue that we're on and 68th Street. This is where we are told the officer was brought. We have some preliminary information from sources that the officer may have been on paid, which is technically off duty, but you'll see police officers in uniform in certain commercial places in the city as added security. B&H Photo being one of those places where they beef up their security by using NY police officers because they're trained, they're professional. professional, and they use them there. Our understanding is that that officer might have been stationed at a precinct in the Bronx, but was doing this paid duty down here. Now, the officer was right after the shooting brought over to this location. We've seen a number of police brass arrive here at the scene, including the head of the Police Benevolent Association, which is the union representing patrol officers. He walked in here maybe about the last 10 minutes or so. Going inside, we see another convoy of police cars going by, and there's been an influx of police officers descending on this location to sort of control the traffic and to control the flow. As for the condition of the officer, we don't know yet. The NYPD and the city's officials have not said anything. They've talked about other parts of the scene there, but they have not talked about the condition of this police officer. From sources, we know that his injuries were considered to be very serious. Now, we're pointing out some of the discussion going on right now is whether or not that officer was wearing a vest, and from our information that the NYPD's officers do wear vests, but while they are very effective at preventing penetration from 9mm weapons, that if in fact the shooter was using an AR-15, the rounds that are fired from that, we are told the vest that police officers wear might not be effective in those cases. It's simply not a weapon that's used very often here in New York City. Police cars zooming by right now. But that's the latest from here at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. The officer is inside, the condition unknown, but believed to be very, very serious, if not grave.
Yeah, Arthur, while I have you, because I do know that you have a number of sources and was hearing earlier that the shooter shot himself, what can you tell us regarding what you're hearing with that?
Yeah, so we see well, let's talk about the official word from the city. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch sending out a message that the shooter was neutralized. That language seems to imply that they did it. What our sources are telling us is that the shooter, if neutralized, was because of a quote-unquote self-inflicted gunshot wound that he was discovered on the 33rd floor of that building. Again, maybe the end result is the same in saying that the gunman is not believed to be a threat, and that scene from an active shooter standpoint is under control, but our sources are saying that the shooter is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We do not know which weapon. The surveillance video, I don't know if we've been putting it on the air, shows the suspected gunman walking into that building, and it looks like 51st Street, by the way. I know we're talking a lot about 52nd Street, but it looked like he walked in through the 51st Street Park Avenue entrance and had a weapon in his right hand that resembled a camouflaged AR-15. Not sure right now that self-inflicted gunshot wound, what weapon was used. That's certainly something that we'd like to find out. But that's what we're hearing from our sources. Officially, the NYPD says that the gunman has been neutralized.
Yeah, and while I have you, Arthur, I mean, we did show that picture. It's kind of unbelievable. If you've seen the picture, it's just this man walking casually into that pavilion off of 51st. Looks like he's in a business suit. He's wearing sunglasses. He's got that weapon drawn to his side. Looks like he's just striding in. When you look at that picture, what do you make of it?
That's a great question right now. There is a casualness to it. It looks like he knew where he was going. Now, there are a lot of financial institutions in that building. It's been pointed out the NFL's offices are in that building, and I think at some point Deutsche Bank was in that building too. There is a vehicle outside that is of interest to investigators, and from our understanding, it's considered a luxury vehicle. So this individual may have had means. So that will all probably be folded into the key question of what was the motive behind today's shooting. Of course, it doesn't excuse it in any way, but investigators want to know what drove this. To also find out if he was working with any accomplices. We're pointing out immediately after he was found neutralized, that scene was still considered dangerous. They wanted to see if there were any other devices that might represent a danger in that building. And if obviously they want to know if he was acting alone. But certainly from that surveillance shot that you described, it looked like he was walking in by himself.
And seems like he's walking with purpose. Just a terrifying ordeal. We want to get out to Kendall Green right now. Arthur, thank you. Let's get to Kendall, who's on the scene right now. Kendall, you are talking to this gentleman who works at 399 Park, which is just a couple of blocks away from where the shooting happened.
Right. This gentleman, Shad, you were just a couple blocks from what should happen, and you said you were in shelter in place for how long?
For about like 2.5, 3 hours, we were stuck in there. They told us to stay put. They told us that there was something happening outside, and it's not safe to be out there. So we just tried to stay put and do what we can. Yeah.
And to know that shooting happened right there next door.
I walk that way. I walk that way all the time. Like I get lunch there. I sit there. I have a lot of friends that work around here, so it's just crazy to hear something is happening so close to you. Like you hear about it on the news, but then when it's right there, it's crazy.
And what's going through your mind? You said you have a whole bunch of friends that work here in this area. What was the sentiment when you talked to them about what was going on? Were they responsive?
No, I mean, I was, as soon as I realized that, because it took me a second to realize, wait a minute, I have other people here too. And so I started calling people up. Thankfully, they were okay. Some people didn't come in today, which is great. But no, I mean, it was just straight panic, as soon as I heard it.
And what, you said 3 hours. What's going through your mind when you're in there and you're watching everything unfold?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't getting much news or information at all, as far as like from the company. I mean, obviously we're just kind of there, staying put and trying to hear what's happening. But I did hear from friends, and I heard from, certain news articles online that, basically what was happening, like an active gunman walked in and he walked straight into a building. We weren't for sure, like we didn't know whether it was our building at first, so we were, it was straight panic right off the bat as far as just being concerned. But then once, even regardless, it was right next to us, so it was just really scary.
There's been images that you were walking around with that weapon, with that assault rifle. And when you saw that, and you were seeing that that's just a door over.
Yeah, no, I mean, those same steps, that same area, I walk through that all the time. So seeing that online and seeing that person with a gun walking right through it too, it just puts it into perspective. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You're not going to, like, you think it's not going to happen to you, and then it does, right?
And then all this police response. Nothing like you would have expected, I'm sure, right outside of where you were.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. I would never expect that. Again, like this is a regular thing. Walking through here, to hear someone just walk right through with a gun, it's just puts things into perspective. It's you got to be safe. You got to stay safe out there.
Thank you for making time. This is just one of several folks who were in a shelter in place, shed there, and a lot of folks, they just tell me that they couldn't. It took a while for it to sink in what was going on, and then when they got the details of what was going on, as they got them slowly, similar to how we did, then it started to sink in, and they knew it was a really serious situation. Shad there, similar to other witnesses, that similar one we told you about, who was watching things unfold from the top. He showed me some of the video of it, and it looked like that black BMW in question in the middle of it, that was connected to everything that was going on. That's the latest here in Midtown so far, Natasha.
All right, Kendall, thank you so much. Yeah, if you're just joining us, a really scary situation out in Midtown Manhattan. At least 2 people shot by a gunman who we do have pictures of, just seen casually walking in with a weapon by his side. We're hearing reports that it was an AR-15. This is all happening at 51st and Park Avenue, that entrance there. A number of major businesses in the building where the shooting took place, the NFL headquarters, JP Morgan, Blackstone. So a lot of hedge funds, law firms, like a lot of financial institutions in that area. This unfolding around 6:10 p.m.
So there you have it. Live shooting in New York. The person has been neutralized, down as they say. Hey, if you was in here, click that like, share, subscribe, man. Hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I do one of these.